Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get straight to the insights you need. Today, we're plunging into a digital asset that's, well, truly been making waves, SUI coin. You've sent us a wealth of material, really detailed technical analyses, market sentiment reports, long-term price predictions, and even a look under the hood at its unique technology.
Yeah, there's a lot there. And our mission in this deep dive is, well, pretty simple. We're going to distill all of this down into the most important nuggets, give you a comprehensive understanding of SUI's current standing, what's really driving its movements, and what the future might hold for it. Think of it like your shortcut, Get genuinely well-informed about this corner of the crypto market without getting lost in all the details.
Exactly. So let's unpack this. As we look at SUI's recent market performance, what's the first thing that really jumps out at you?
Well, what's immediately striking is the incredible run SUI has been on, especially when you look at 2025 overall. Sure, we've seen some daily ups and downs, like it was around $3.45 on August 3rd, then climbed to $3.71 by August 7th, and just recently, $3.84 on August 10th. But the bigger picture, its annual performance is astounding. Up, 434.95% since the start of 2025. Some sources even put it over 600% year to date through August 2024 from Bitcoin's lowest point. That's a surge.
Wow, okay. Those numbers are definitely attention-grabbing. It sounds like SUI isn't just, growing, it's really cementing its position.
Absolutely. And this growth isn't just percentages, right? It's translated into significant market standing. SUI has recently been ranked 13th or 14th biggest crypto by market cap. We're talking a market capitalization somewhere between, say, $8.6 billion and nearly $13.5 billion. That puts it firmly in the crypto big leagues, shows real investor confidence, real adoption.
Okay, so it's a major player, but even the strongest assets face headwinds, right? Has SUI seen any significant dips amidst this climb?
Oh, it has, yeah. While the overall trend is, pretty bullish, SUI did have a slight dip in early August, traded at a 24-hour low of $3.46 on August 5th. That was largely influenced by broader market stuff. But what's really interesting is its resilience. Look at the last 7 days, it's up 11.79% and 9.52% over the last month as of August 10th. It seems to bounce back pretty quickly.
That resilience is encouraging. Sounds like it's shaking off those early August jitters. But when we talk market recovery, we can't ignore the general mood, can we? What's the vibe out there? I keep hearing greed.
Yeah, the general market sentiment. The fear and greed index, it's been quite high, scored 64, even 69 recently. And yes, that signals greed. Now, greed might sound good, like everyone's buying, but it's also a subtle warning. It suggests the market might be getting a bit overheated, creates potential for profit taking, could lead to short-term pullbacks. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Excitement, yes, but also maybe time for a little caution.
That's a crucial nuance. Okay, so we've got the market snapshot, the overall sentiment. Let's dive into the technicals. For those keeping an eye on the charts, what are the moving averages telling us?
The moving averages, they offer a fascinating picture, a bit mixed actually. So moving averages, they smooth out price data, help spot trends. For SUI, they point to a neutral overall summary right now. Short term, the 10-day MA at $3.41, the 20-day at $3.38, the price is above those. That signals a buy. Suggests immediate bullish momentum.
Okay, but mixed implies there's another side to that coin.
Exactly. The medium-term moving average is the 50-day at $3.44, the 100-day at $3.59. They actually show a sell signal because the price is currently below them, indicates some weakness in that mid-range trend. But here's where it gets interesting. The long-term 200-day moving average, the MA200 at $3.20, that's firmly a buy. Price is well above it. So SUI is kind of in this tug-of-war. Short-term bullish, medium-term caution, but with a strong long-term trend underneath.
Right, quite a blend of signals.
Yeah.
What about the oscillators? Those things that measure momentum, overbought, oversold, are they clearer?
The oscillators lean much more strongly bullish. They're signaling a strong buy, like 8 buy indicators versus just 1 sell. Take the RSI, the relative strength index, it's at 55.76. That signals buy. Healthy upward momentum, not yet overbought. The stochastic oscillator, too, at 78.759, that's giving a strong buy.
So lots of positive momentum then. Any caveats there? Anything flashing yellow?
There is a nuance, yeah. The MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, think of it like a momentum speedometer. It's at 0.06599 and signals sell. Suggests maybe some weakness in the rate of that upward momentum. And also the Williams per SAR indicator is at 8.738. That suggests overbought conditions. So implies maybe a risk of a short-term correction after this strong run. Strong underlying momentum, yes, but maybe due for a quick breather.
Okay, strong momentum, slight warning, makes sense. Given these signals, where are the key price levels we should be watching? Support and resistance.
Right, critical support levels. Where the price has bounced before, those are around $3.20 to 26 cents, and also $3.32, important floors. On the flip side, resistance, where selling pressure might kick in. That's at $3.48 to $3.49 and $3.55. And it'd be a tighter one at $3.78. Breaking those could signal the next leg up.
And it sounds like SUI might be trying to do just that. There's talk about a potential bullish breakout. What does that mean?
Yeah, this is pretty compelling, actually. SUI recently broke out of what analysts call a local wedge pattern. Think of it like converging trend lines, price tightening up. Breaking out, especially upwards, is often a strong bullish reversal signal. And what makes it stronger is that it's trading above the 50-day and 200-day moving averages, MA50 at $3.54, MA200 at $3.64. They flipped into new support levels. That's a textbook bullish sign. Very strong. In fact, the last time these averages formed a golden cross, that's when the short-term MA crosses above the long-term MA, a big bullish signal. That was back in October. SUI surged 206% after that, hit a peak of $5.35 in January. So history suggests potential here.
Fascinating how those patterns can play out. Okay, so beyond the charts, what are the bigger forces driving SUI? Let's talk broader economic trends. How do they ripple into crypto?
Well, it's amazing how connected everything is, isn't it? Reports show the crypto market, SUI included, felt a risk-off mood after President Trump's statement on reciprocal tariffs. Bitcoin dipped 3%, Ethereum 6%, Solana 5%. SUI wasn't immune. Just shows how a single statement, seemingly unrelated, can send ripples. Reminds you no crypto operates in a total vacuum.
Right, a powerful reminder of those global dynamics. And August always feels a bit different in the markets, doesn't it?
It often does, yeah. Historically, you tend to see higher volatility but lower trading volumes in August. That creates a more unpredictable environment, can threaten price stability. Smaller trades can have a bigger impact when volume is thin.
Makes sense. Now, shifting to internal dynamics. Token unlocks. We hear that term a lot. Can you quickly explain what that is for listeners and how it's affected SUI?
Sure. So a token unlock is when previously locked crypto tokens, often held by early investors, foundations get released into the circulating supply. This usually adds some temporary selling pressure, naturally. More supply hits the market. For SUI, we saw big unlocks earlier this year, $235 million in January, $300 million in February. That added to the supply. And investors are always kind of looking ahead, right? Because the current circulating supply, about 3.5 billion SUI, is only 35% of the total 10 billion max supply. So there's still a lot potentially waiting to be unlocked down the road. It's a factor to keep in mind.
Okay, so a large chunk of supply still on the sidelines, but moving away from just market mechanics, SUI is getting some serious institutional love, right? Tell us about that, because that often signals a real shift.
Yeah, this is huge. A massive vote of confidence, really. You've got Sygnum Bank in Switzerland, a regulated digital asset bank, adding SUI for custody, staking, trading for their institutional clients. That means the big players can now get involved safely through a trusted name. Plus, Mill City Ventures, listed on NASDAQ, allocated a huge $450 million of reserves to SUI. And then there's a pending SUI ETF application from 21 shares, expected SEC review by Jan 2026. These moves from traditional finance, they signal real belief in SUI's long-term viability.
That's compelling. And speaking of long-term viability, mainstream adoption is key. SUI is doing something interesting with user experience, this passkey feature.
Oh, this is potentially a game changer for getting Web3 to everyday people. The Sui Foundation launched Passkey. It's basically a super sleek, passwordless way to log in. Imagine using just your Face ID or fingerprint or a YubiKey to get into a Web3 app. No seed phrases, no traditional crypto wallets needed. Like the quote says, no seed phrases, no passwords, just Web3 the way it should be. That drastically lowers the barrier to entry, makes it almost as easy as your banking app. That's huge for adoption.
Wow, that sounds like it solves a massive pain point.
Yeah.
Okay, users are important, but what about the builders, the developers? Is SUI attracting them too?
Absolutely. It's really emerged as a builder's chain. Developer activity is accelerating. We're seeing like 50% year-over-year growth in developer interest. They did this global tour in 2025, engaged maybe 3,000 developers in places like Paris, Athens, Hanoi. Why are they coming? Well, it's Move programming language lets them build dApps faster, more securely, and it boasts, 60% less transaction latency than Ethereum? That's a big deal for performance. Plus, they're focusing strategically on emerging markets like Vietnam, where the dev community grew 40% YoY. That's smart growth.
Okay, so attracting users and developers. Let's look deeper into the ecosystem and the vision. How does Sui stack up on performance and scalability against the big competitors?
Well, its core strengths are definitely high performance and scalability. It's designed for fast speeds, predictable, low gas fees. That puts it in really strong competition with Ethereum, Solana, TON, REIT, especially for apps needing high throughput and low costs. It's built for efficiency.
And that performance seems to be attracting actual users, right? That growth sounds explosive.
It really is. User base expansion has been dramatic. It's now ranked, I think, third most active blockchain by daily users. New wallet creations jumped from maybe 150,000 a day to over 1 million. And it's sustaining that pace. That's a massive influx. Shows the platform's speed and maybe that passkey feature are really resonating.
And beyond individual users, it's making waves in DeFi, decentralized finance. What's happening there?
Oh yeah, Sui's DeFi ecosystem is becoming a real powerhouse. Daily DX volumes, decentralized exchanges surpassing $1 billion. Cumulative trading activity over $100 billion now. That's huge for a relatively young platform. Total value locked, the TVL hit a $2 billion all-time high, holding pretty steady. And what's really interesting is the stablecoin supply climbing towards $1 billion. Includes enterprise-grade ones like FDUSD, USDY. That signals growing institutional confidence, but also lots of dry powder capital ready to be deployed within the ecosystem, primed for more growth.
Interesting. And it's doing something innovative with Bitcoin, too, putting idle Bitcoin to work.
Yes, this is quite clever, addressing the fact that so much Bitcoin just sits there. Nearly $250 million worth of Bitcoin, that's over 10% of Sui's TVL, has been deployed onto the Sui network. So users can earn yield on their BTC, lend it, borrow against it, all directly on-chain. It effectively brings Bitcoin into the active DeFi world, unlocked new utility for it.
That's a smart way to leverage a foundational asset. And it's also pushing into Web3 gaming. That's seen as a huge growth area.
Definitely making strong moves there. They launched a handheld device, the Sui X1. It sold out 9,000 pre-orders instantly. Shows real interest. Their main game, Pebble City, has generated over 14 million transactions. That's solid early engagement. And there's that rumor swirling about a Pokemon integration, if that happens. Well,
that would certainly turn a lot of heads.
Pokemon. Okay, yeah, that would generate some serious buzz. Let's shift to the SUI token itself, the tokenomics. Explain that for us. What are its core purposes? How is it designed for stability? Right, tokenomics, the economics of the coin. SUI's total supply is capped at 10 billion. That's fixed. The coin itself has 4 main jobs on the network. 1, you stake it for proof-of-stake security. 2, you pay gas fees with it for transactions and data storage. 3, it acts as a liquid asset unit of account, medium of exchange, store of value. And 4, it's used for governance. Holders vote on protocol upgrades and stuff.
Okay, standard functions. But I heard about a unique storage fund. How does that work? What's its impact?
Ah, yes, the storage fund. It's actually a really neat innovation. Tackles a long-term problem. How do you pay future validators to store old data forever? So a portion of past transaction fees goes into this fund. The fund itself is then staked, earns rewards, and those rewards are paid out to the current validators to cover the ongoing cost of storing all that historical data. It ensures data stays available long-term, and importantly, as the fund grows, because more data needs storing, it takes SUI out of circulation. So it adds this slight deflationary pressure to the token supply over time.
That's a really interesting mechanism. Manages costs and influences supply. Now, I also remember hearing SUI deliberately didn't do airdrops. That seems unusual. Why not?
Yeah, that was a very conscious choice. They skipped the airdrops free token giveaways for a few reasons. 1, it helps mitigate risks from bots and bad actors just trying to grab free tokens. 2, airdrops can get complicated with regulations and taxes in different places, creating headaches. And 3, Sui really seems focused on building a genuinely committed community for the long haul. They likely felt airdrops give short-term hype, but maybe not long-term value compared to organic growth and real engagement.
Right, prioritizing stability and commitment over maybe a quick buzz. Makes sense. And validator requirements. Are they making it easier to participate?
Yes, that's evolving too. With S&P 39, they're lowering the barrier to entry. Instead of needing just a huge fixed amount of SUI, the requirement is shifting towards having a minimum amount of voting power. That's calculated based more on your stake relative to the whole network. The idea is to encourage more participation, make the network more decentralized, more robust.
Okay, we've covered a ton. Market, tech, ecosystem, tokenomics. Let's bring it together. What's the outlook? Future trajectories. Start with the short term.
Short term. Well, even with the bullish signals, there are those headwinds we mentioned. Mild selling pressure, maybe. Risk of profit taking because of that greed index. Changelly, for example, predicts potential dips in August, maybe down to $2.60 by the 19th. So some immediate caution seems prudent.
Okay, caution short term, but long term. The predictions seem all over the place, from solid growth to astronomical numbers. Walk us through that spectrum.
It's a fascinating range, yeah. Highlights how tough long-term crypto forecasting is. You've got analyst Lau seeing a potential surge to $7 if SUI gets firmly above $4.55. Crypto 77N is more measured for 2025, maybe $3.14 to $3.69, but sees an average of $6.26 by 2030. ABC Money is more bullish, maybe $7.01 by end of 2025, possibly $23.77 by 2030.
Those are big jumps already. Are there even more optimistic calls?
Oh yes, Changely throws out some really eye-popping long-term numbers. Average of $8.64 by 2030, and get this, an average of $967 by 15 cents by 2050. Meanwhile, analyst Rand at Bankless Times is looking at $5 and $10 as the next upside targets, given the recent resistance break. So yeah, short-term views vary, but there's definitely strong long-term bullish sentiment from quite a few sources.
Wow. $967. That's something else. Really underlines the speculative element. But let's ground it a bit. How does SUI's current value compare to, say, Ethereum? What could that imply?
That's a great way to look at it. Right now, Sui's market cap is just over 5% of Ethereum. So here's a thought experiment. If SUI were to capture just 15% of Ethereum's current valuation, the SUI token price could nearly triple from where it is now, potentially around $9.97. Just shows the kind of upside potential if it keeps gaining market share against the established giants.
That really frames the potential upside differently. And what about putting SUI in a traditional investment portfolio? Can even a small slice actually help returns?
The data suggests it could, yeah. Even adding just a 1% SUI allocation to a standard portfolio has, historically, outperformed benchmarks, not just on absolute returns, but also risk-adjusted returns. It improved Sharpe and Sortino ratios, those measures of return per unit of risk, and it did this while keeping the overall portfolio volatility pretty well in check. So it indicates SUI could potentially enhance returns without blowing up your risk profile.
Interesting. Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What's the overall investment summary from the sources and the key risks to keep front of mind?
The general takeaway, like from Crypto 77N, seems to be short-term neutral to maybe bearish. Watch that $3.40 support level closely. Long-term outlook, though, remains decidedly bullish. Recommendations to maybe look for buy opportunities between $3.20 and $3.30. Risks are rated medium. The advice is, maybe avoid large trades unless SUI clearly breaks above $3.69. And definitely be wary if momentum fades or if it breaks below $4 support, as that could signal further declines. So it's that classic balance, exciting long-term potential, but with important short-term caution flags.
Okay, so what does all this mean for you, the listener, who's trying to understand this corner of the crypto landscape?
Well, we've seen SUI is definitely a multifaceted asset, right? It's balancing those short-term market dynamics, potential volatility from things like token unlocks. But it has strong underlying fundamentals, growing institutional interest, and a really expanding ecosystem. It's not just talk. It's attracting users, attracting developers.
Yeah, from its unique tokenomics aiming for stability to innovations like Passkey making it easier to use, plus ambitious moves in DeFi and Web3 gaming.
Yeah.
SUI presents a really compelling case for its long-term potential. Even with all the different price predictions and the market's ups and downs, it seems to be aiming for something more than just speculation.
And that brings up a really important question, I think. Considering Sui's focus on mainstream adoption, on solving real problems with its tech, not just price watching, how might the success of projects like Sui influence the broader acceptance, the daily utility of blockchain tech in the years ahead? What stands out to you about its potential to actually bridge that gap between complicated crypto stuff and just everyday use?